Alrighty. Boat FooL, capital L. We are back. Excuse me, back. Yeah, so cold hit me a little harder than I had thought it would. I thought I was going to be back Friday, and that did not happen. This cold has been a mean one, but we're good. We're pretty much almost back to 100%. We still got a little congestion, but nothing that can't be dealt with. You know what I'm saying? We can get through this. But the other days weren't so good. It was very just coughing a lot. It's not good. It's not fun. So didn't want to put anybody through that. And also just needed to relax. So, but yeah, we are back, and this is a very rare in the middle of the week movie review stream because I feel bad because I watched the movie and I wanted to discuss it, and then just got sick and wasn't feeling good about it. So we're gonna do that. The Woman of the Hour. We're gonna discuss that here in just a moment, and then after, I'm hoping we can do Dark and Darker, because there's a brand new season. Let me see. Smoothly. Oh, so actually no, we won't be doing Dark and Darker because apparently it's still down. So cool. So we won't be doing that, I guess. I'll have to figure out something on that. We'll probably do multiverses because they do have a new battle pass, so we can work on that. Maybe do some ranked as well. Shields is official and all the queues. So yeah, we'll do that because Dark and Darker is apparently not ready to be played right now. So let me change my title then. Den Dark and Darker, Den Multiverses. All right, we'll just hit done there. So yeah, that's the plan now. Is going to be multiverses after the movie review. So with that being said, we're going to jump into it. If anybody's new and just joining, normally I used to do trailers and all that stuff, and we can look at those and maybe discuss. But honestly, I like to save the reviews on the YouTube channel, and it's been a bitch kind of having to edit it and all that without going through the full getting the editing solved. I don't feel like doing all that. So yeah, we're just gonna get into the review and then get into it. So with that, let's do what we always do. Shout out to the cousin, Track Justice. We're gonna go ahead and play some of his music for the background here. But before that, as always, let's go ahead and bring this up on screen. We're gonna do the trailer for the film, and then we will discuss. Woman of the Hour.
Oh my God, where are we? What is this place? Anyway, I'm auditioning in a week.
That's in the bag.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have this Patti Smith vibration thing going on. I'm talking about soul.
Okay. Sorry. I think that's good. That's good. I'm into that.
So yeah, this is, I believe, her first directorial
How do you feel right now?
debut.
Fine.
Yes, and based on a shocking true story.
Excuse me, man. Can you give us another round?
Yeah.
We'll have to get out of here then, huh? I'll walk with you. Hey. Can you tell me your number?
I just gave it to you.
Yeah, no, I know. I just want to make sure I have the right one.
Right. Just let me see it and
Can't repeat it from memory?
What a fucking movie. She really did. She knocked it out of the park. Shout out to her. Shout out to Anna Kendrick. Shout out to the Boo. I love her. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review. All right. So as it mentioned, yeah, that's her directorial debut. She killed it. She killed it. Straightforward. She did an amazing job, and that's not even my bias because I enjoy her. But like, no, she did. She did a great job with this film. And some people knew kind of like a little bit about like the backstory here. So this actually happened as they indicate here. So let's just jump up here and real quick for those who may be new to this at all, if any. We go into the full thing, hence why I tagged this as a review and discussion, because we do, get into spoilers, things like that. So just keep that in mind if you don't want to be spoiled. Just know it's a good film. I do enjoy it. I recommend it. And just come back if you don't want to hear anything else. So this is based on real life events. The serial killer Rodney Alcala, that's the guy there you saw there. He was known for basically raping women and killing them. And then it ends up getting caught and everything, which they show in the film. Which was, apparently the way they filmed it and shot it was more or less kind of exactly how it went down, which we'll touch on that in a moment here as well. But basically, it kind of shows you with the different victims. What I liked here is the trailer. So what you saw in the trailer, and again, we're getting the spoilers because I do want to dig in a little bit on some of this because I really like how they did that. What you saw there, honestly, was actually more so towards the end of the film. The little date they have, and then him trying to follow her to the car and all that. But it, gets built up between everything because they show you, previous victims of his that, he, did and all that, and killed, and shows you how he did it, stuff like that. Now, what I thought was really, well done is though it deals with some very sensitive subjects like rape and murder and stuff, they didn't like focus on it as much in the sense of like you're not seeing him actually really do too much to these women on screen. Like there are definitely some moments for sure, but like you don't necessarily see like how some movies try to kind of almost push that out there to, I don't know, maybe the shock value or whatever it is. But that was honestly really well done because it still gets the veracity across and gets the moment there, but it doesn't focus on it to the sense where you have to see these women get brutalized and things like that. So very well done there. And so one of the big things was, as they say here, he was on the dating game, and somehow managed to end up on the dating game, and almost kill her. Almost he doesn't. It's wild. And they mentioned that in the midst of his murdering spree, he ended up on the dating show. So one thing they do that I thought was interesting is, they kind of show you the times, really. I mean, it's set in the 70s, late 70s. And they also kind of jump in between years. So they basically, start off kind of showing one of, I would assume maybe the first kills of his or whatever, which was, a few years prior to him being on the show, the dating game and everything. And unfortunately showing the sign of the times where, he was able to get away with it. The police actually even interviewed him throughout this process, and he was able to, still not get caught. It wasn't until one of the last women that he did this to, which actually is how they close up the movie. she manages to pretty much kind of trick him in a sense, I guess you could say, and be able to get him caught by the police, which I will talk about that just a little bit more in a moment. But first and foremost, shout out to Miss Kendrick. She killed it. She did. Again, I always enjoyed her as an actress, and I mean, she's one of my favorites ever. I mean, she was in Scott Pilgrim, and and a bunch of other things, and I just, she's great. She's adorable, and seeing her do this and how well it was, mad respect. But it really kind of shows you how obviously misogynistic the world is. I know it's a hot topic. I know people want to disagree and but no, I mean, there's even a point where so when he's on the dating game, and I don't know if this actually happened, I would not be surprised, but there is a girl in the audience who her friend was a victim of his, and she recognizes him and kind of freaks out. Her boyfriend somewhat doesn't kind of believe her, but in any case, she still tries to warn the producers of the show. And the producers are like, oh, okay. Well, the security guard, she tells, was like, okay, I'll have you meet with somebody. And they have her sit in this room. And basically time goes by and nobody comes out. And then eventually some guy comes out, starts vacuuming. And she's like, I'm looking for so-and-so. He's like, that's actually me. And then she realized they weren't taking her serious. And then she freaks out and leaves. Cut to a scene later where she's at the police office trying to, explain this to them. And even they don't necessarily believe her or don't have information. One of those they brush it off scenarios. And now, granted, I mean, that trope is kind of used a lot, but this is based on actual events. So I can't discount it, and I believe it happened as they show it. If not, it still makes sense, and I would not discount it. There are definitely there's definitely some definitely good shots in the film. Visually, it's great. It's got great pacing. It's not long at all. It gets the job done. It's one of those movies that it really just kind of goes in and does what it needs to do. Doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not preachy. It just is like, these are facts. These are things that happened, and they just nailed it. Everything from the wardrobes to the vibes to the everything. I was like, yeah, this seems legit. The actor, what's this guy's name? Where's he at? He killed it. No pun intended there. Where's he at? Oh, this guy. Daniel Zavato, this guy. Yeah, he's been in quite a few different things. I know I've seen him in some things recently. Yes, he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Holy shit, that's right. Now that's why I was like, why does he look so fucking familiar? Now I remember. He was a student in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Great show. And then It Follows. Yep, I remember that. So yeah, he killed it, man. He really nailed it, in the sense of that really brooding, just psychopathic vibe. He really brought that shit to the table. No lie, the man did a great job. And and the cool thing is too is, so Anna Kendrick, obviously she directed the film and she's technically the star of the film, but the movie doesn't necessarily focus 100% on her, which I think was a really cool and good move. Because again, as I mentioned, it kind of jumps in between times. Between the couple of years, this man was on his rampage, basically on his killing spree. It jumps from the moment you see his first kill, or I would assume again that's the first kill, to they introduce her, and then they kind of jump backwards and then forwards, and so you're also kind of damn, does she die? Because they kind of jump from her story. They didn't show what happened. Obviously she interacts with him, so what's up? And so you then find that out basically, towards the end, she is, spoiler alert, does make it out. That scene in the parking lot was like pretty much the last part of the last 15 minutes or so. And yeah, that the phone number thing, like, just, man, like, that shit got real tense. Like, I give them a lot of credit on that, because they really nailed the intensity of that moment, like, just in the overall vibe, the tone, how it was shot, as you were seeing there. There's a little more to it, obviously, than just her walking away, but just that whole overall sequence for them going out, like, and how quickly he changed too, as you saw in the film. I like how they did that, though it wasn't necessarily the same as it was in the film, where the kind of music kind of dropped the moment he hit the table with his cup. But it definitely was like, holy shit, what the fuck? Like, and the funny thing is, like, she's just being playful, just being, herself, because they show you, in the film, she's a smart woman, and, she's just trying to get a break in Hollywood, and that's how she even ends up on the dating game. And so, just her being her, quirky little self, I guess you could say. And boy, man, did he take that and just get upset. And yeah, so he did a good job from just kind of flipping it from being that, cool, chill, to just flipping it to being just straight up like, hey, yeah, I'm batshit crazy. So yeah, it's really good. I'm just honestly very impressed, and I hope she gets to do more directing. Directing. I can't even think of the proper word. But yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can say about it, because again, it is a shorter film. But just the supporting cast is pretty good as well. Matter of fact, she has a neighbor who is like, really about her, and she kind of was like, not necessarily being cold to him, but a little distant, because she doesn't want to date people and stuff like that, and he kind of proves why she doesn't want to. And it's really interesting, because it does again show you a lot of that whole the vibe, I guess you could say, and the overall feel of the time, and how women were basically looked at, and realistically still are. In that sense, it's definitely better, but not great. We've made some strides, obviously. Some things are definitely different, but it definitely shows you for like where we were at a time, because it's not far from the truth. I mean, especially in this case, since you're dealing with a true story, and how some of these stories are being told. But yeah, it's a great film. Very well done. As they say here, great period piece in the sense of all the wardrobe and the settings and everything. And that's one thing I always enjoy when I watch films that do period pieces, is like looking in the surroundings and stuff like that, because like there's a shot, as a matter of fact, I mentioned the girl who was in the audience and notices that that's him. He killed her friend, and like just in them getting to the set, the studio, because they were just audience members. They wanted to watch a taping of the dating game, and like all the different cars, and like all the people, like very old cars, and 70s, 60s and stuff like that. So it's just really cool to see in that aspect. But yeah, so I want to speak towards the ending real quick here before we get into the scene and score. So the ending, they basically, there's a girl that he picks up, or pretty much picks up, and he finds her kind of just hanging out in like an apartment, like building, like walkway area, kind of, and she's basically, it seems like a runaway, and she's just trying to kind of get by, and he's like he's this photographer or photographist. No, that's not it. Jesus Christ, that's stupid. He's a photographer, and he starts taking her pictures and like, oh, you're beautiful, blah blah blah. And that's kind of his mo. I'm a photographer. Can I take your picture? Blah blah blah. And so this girl, like, she seemed young, and he's like, hey, you know, let's go somewhere, take some shots, and this and that. And so he convinces her to do it, and oddly enough, well, not oddly enough, but basically you find out, yes, he does, you know, unfortunately, like, rape her and beat her up, but she isn't killed after their initial meeting. What she does was, I mean, in my mind, honestly, she's brilliant, you know, in the circumstance. She wakes up, or he wakes her up, or whatever have you, and she's basically apologizing to him, like, I'm sorry, I won't tell anybody, blah 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 blah. So I'm kind of sitting there, and you're watching this scene, and you're like, what the fuck? And so fast forward, you know, because they take a jump in between that moment, and then go back to him and Kendrick, and then come back to her, and this is pretty much like the end. And what they do is, you know, she basically is like, hey, you know, I like you, you know, I won't tell anybody about this, blah, blah, let's just go. And so they need to stop to, I think it was either get gas, or he needed to use the bathroom. So they do that, and she ends up, the moment he pretty much goes, because she's made him very comfortable at this point, and he's like, he bought into it. And the moment he gets out and goes, she books it. Over to like a little diner right across the road, and ends up actually being able to get the cops and get him arrested. So it was really, you know, crazy to see, because that obviously did happen, being that it's based on a true story. So really, really wild to see, and just the fact that, I mean, that he somehow made it through all this and ended up on the dating game, and then, you know, like, it's just absolutely insane. You can look it up, obviously. Again, I mean, that's, you know, something you can, you know, review. But yeah, so great film. My favorite scene definitely was the parking lot scene. I mean, that there's, you know, definitely movies do well when in making that tension and like kind of pulling you in, like, holy shit, what the hell is about to happen? Man, I don't know, something about that, the way they did it, the writing, the phone number, asking for the phone number, like, this guy, like, he's a fucking sadistic piece of shit genius, and, you know, I was like, hey, repeat it back to me, like, when he did that, I was like, oh, fuck, because I forgot, I watched the trailer a while ago, and I ain't gonna lie, I forgot about that, and I was like, that's fucking crazy, and so, yeah, like, it was just, pretty crazy, and just a well-shot moment, you know, that particular scene and everything. And then overall, for me, I'm giving it a solid 9, for sure. Like, just a great movie, and looking forward to seeing more what this Miss Kendrick can do behind the camera. Obviously, she's great in front of it, but I mean, let me see what else she can do. So yeah, check it out. If that didn't ruin it too much for you. And if you're just joining me, check it out. Good film. We're going to go ahead here and get into some gaming, though. So let's... also, we'll do... you know, I should be streaming Friday. I don't think I got anything planned Friday. No. So, yeah, Friday we'll be doing a stream, and I think we'll do a wheel spin for the next following Friday. For the next movie review. So be here for that. In any case, though, let's get ourselves into some multiverses, huh? Shall we?